slow down on the energy. Doubt starts to come into your own mind. Will he say yes? Will he say no? Uncertainty enters the game. And the moment uncertainty enters the game, they catch that from you faster than they caught your confidence. And when they catch the lack of confidence, you think they're going to say yes? That is the reason why you have to be always working with the confidence that I know what I'm doing. I have built a good relationship with this client. I have qualified by asking all the relevant questions. I have confirmed the qualification back with the client before I presented the solution, got him to say yes, that's what I'm looking for. Then I give him the solution, do a pulse check whether the client can resonate with what I'm offering, and he says yes, this makes sense, but I have 3 concerns. Deal with the concerns and ask him, does that answer your question satisfactorily? And if he says yes, just go for it. So people will actually absorb both from you, your confidence as well as your uncertainty, but uncertainty is absorbed faster, especially when there is another broker out there who's just doing the right things and asking for the deal. Okay, the second problem you'll have is this. People buy emotionally, but they will justify logically. This is every decision. That hardcore investor of yours who sits with a calculator, he's using the left brain, the logic and the rationale. After using the logic, he's going to like it or not like it. The liking is an emotion. If I like it, I'll go for it. If I don't like it, I'm not doing it. So the decision is always made on an emotion. And then it is justified by logic. Even when you buy a damn sandwich for lunch, it's an emotional decision first. There are 50,000 sandwiches you could have had. Why did you choose that one? Because I like that. And then you will justify to me why that sandwich is better than the other one. So the decision is always emotional, even for a sandwich, or if you're buying a private jet, and you will justify it through logic. Okay, so this is very important. Whole brain approach, left brain and right brain you got to use together. Now, pressure in sales will always create resistance. Urgency will drive the action. So what's the difference between the pressure and the urgency? Okay, let me give you the answer, right? Pressure is external. It's you pushing me. It's you telling me there's only 2 units left, this will disappear. It's you pressurizing me to make the decision. You should not have been pressurizing me. You should have been using a process that was already convincing me step by step that this actually makes sense. It's a good one to do. That's why you keep checking in between, you do pulse checks, right? Urgency is from inside. Pressure is always from the outside. Urgency is from the inside. How many of you trust salespeople? Not even one hand. Show it. So now, pressure is from the outside. That is the salesperson. If I don't trust you already, why would I take the pressure from you? But urgency is from the inside. I trust myself. I trust my gut and how I feel. So learn to work the game from the inside of the client. Okay? So please, no pressure. Even if your director says, you should have not let him go, you should have put the pressure, shake hands with your director and go find another company. I'm saying this because I know there are many owners here. Okay, you will lose more deals by applying pressure than you will win deals through creating urgency. Okay, talk to any top salesperson, they will all tell you urgency, not pressure. Fourth one, follow-ups is where the money is, the fortune. Again, majority salespeople are not that wow on follow-ups. Yeah? Remember, when people walk out from the sales center and they tell you, okay, you know what, I'm traveling to the UK, let's meet up again when I'm back and we close this up. Do you honestly think when he leaves the sales center, he's thinking about you and that opportunity throughout the day? He wakes up in the morning and you're the first thing in his head? Not at all. He's got 100, by the time he reaches the elevator, 90% of what he heard is forgotten. Secondly, he's interested in an investment, but it is not the number one priority in his life, it is the number one priority in your life. So you spend the whole week thinking about it, he's not even thinking about you. So follow-ups is where the fortune lies. You have to learn, how do I follow? Follow-up is not, have you made a decision yet? That is pressure. So follow-ups are done in a slightly different way. I would say, now let's say the client is looking at buying something in DLRC. 2 weeks later or a week later, I would tell them, by the way, hope trip is going well in the UK. Since you are interested in DLRC, I've just done some research on your behalf. I'm sending you a PDF of the Property Monitor report that shows how DLRC has performed in the last 12 months. I think this is important for you. So when you make your decision, you will do it in an informed way. So I'm just sending that to you. You stay alive, you are visible, but you are relevant as well. So you do things where a person feels, I don't mind opening their message, I don't mind taking their call, because in every call, there is a little takeaway for me. There is a learning experience. I find the value. Otherwise, I'm avoiding your call because I know you're asking for the deal. Ghosting happens? Yeah? Why do you think they're ghosting you? One of two reasons. Either they found someone smarter who was able to answer their questions and therefore they decided to go with them, or your calls added no value. You kept calling to ask for the deal. But that's the wrong way to do it on the follow-up. So follow-ups is where your money is really going to lie. And the fifth one, okay, it's sad, but it happens. Most deals are not lost to the competition. They're lost to procrastination. Procrastination is when you hesitate to take action. That could be in a long-term task, it could be in a meeting that is half an hour, where part of my action was to ask for the close. And when I hesitate to ask for the close, I am procrastinating at that point. Understand this, no sales meeting ends without a deal. No sales meeting. Either you have convinced him to go ahead, or he convinces you it's better for us to meet 1 week later when I come back. One way or the other, there is an outcome, always. So you lose it because of procrastination. What's the most that will happen if you ask him? You just created a 50-50 chance that he would say yes. But if you don't ask, he's never going to himself tell you, okay, let me sign. You create almost certainly 100% failure. So procrastination is where you will lose it. Okay, just keep that in mind. I'm just giving you some of the basics behind the closing and wrap up, because we don't understand this, we will not initiate the action from our side. Now let me give you 4 questions which I think are great questions that you could use when you want to find out if the client is resonating, he's with you, he's with the product, because you need these pulse checks before you can close, okay? All of them are done usually at different times in the process. So the first one which I'm giving you is you need to evaluate the resonance with the opportunity. Is the client connecting with the wow tower? Is he connecting logically with this tower if it makes sense? Is he connecting emotionally in the sense, I like this opportunity because it's going to make me money? So one way you could do that, it's a great question. You made a presentation, I would simply take the name of the client. I said, so John, on a scale of 1 to 10, where does this sit with you? So he might tell you 7. I said, well, that's interesting. What's needed to move it from the 7 to the 10? So you can actually bring out even unvoiced objections without any pressure on this. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where does the wow tower sit with you? It's a great catalyst for a conversation. Okay? Another one you can use is where you want to look at the certainty of the commitment. So John, let's say today, this ticks all boxes for you. What would your next step look like? Tonalities are important, right? Let's say this ticks all boxes for you today. What could your next steps look like? It's a good way to see a commitment certainty, proof of life, as Jordan Belfort calls it, okay? Another great one to ask is this. So what could stop you from going ahead today? This is a crazy question to ask. And you'll actually see a lot of people, either they'll tell you, well, truthfully, there's nothing to stop you. In that case, let's just secure this unit for you, so I'll tell you what happens next. He gives you a trial close. Or he will open up and tell you, what would stop me today is 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. He just gave you the reasons that you need to work on, so he can go ahead. You can go ahead. Okay? Now just be careful. He might say, what would stop me today is uncertainty of the current situation in the Middle East. Just be careful before you answer, because it could be an excuse. Yeah, so all I will do is I'll say, well, I'm glad you brought that up. Is that the only thing stopping you from going ahead? Now he's locked into a yes or no. So it's your job to verify these and then decide how you want to answer it. Okay? And a fourth one is also a very nice one, which I usually ask almost at the beginning in the rapport building, but it helps me later in the close because I will reference this later. So this one, what I look at is, so John, let's say 5 years from now, okay, what would you want to see from your investment? 5 years from now, if you had an investment today, how do you want to see it perform? What do you want to see in the investment? Just ask these questions. They're very good discussion starters and actually take you into the mind of the client without putting any pressure. Alright? So let's now go into the techniques. I'll start from the simple techniques and go to the ones that may be slightly complex. In my perspective, in sales, everything should be simple. Keep it simple, but certain techniques are a little bit complex, not because they are hard techniques, you just have to do a little bit more. That's it. The techniques are simple, okay? So I'll start with the simplest one, is the direct close. Now the direct close is where you just ask for the deal. But if you're not confident, you won't use, right? So direct close is a very simple statement that you would use. So here are some examples. I would simply say, so Ahmed, which option would you be confirming? He has to say something, right? You just use silence after this. So Ahmed, which option are we going for today? They have to say something. Either they will raise an objection, or they'll tell you, give me some time, I need to think, which you have to deal with, or they will give you the answer. It all depends on the confidence with which you ask it. Okay? Especially if you got multiple yeses during the process, and I'll give you two techniques on getting the multiple yeses. We call it the micro commitment and the commitment ladder. You'll see those coming later. Another example, so how would you like to make the down payment for this? Also, how would you like to secure this with the EOI? Just ask. That's all you have to do. Or you can go softer. Let's just finish the paperwork on this, shall we? So I can tell you what happens next. The answer will tell you whether they're going with it or not. Why does this work? Okay? The reason it works is very simply confidence removes the hesitation. I see you as the expert. You've worked with hundreds of investors like me. You understand the dynamics. You've heard every question in the market, and people have still come and bought in your Dow. I'm seeing it for the first time. I will never tell you this, but that is my hesitation. So therefore, you should be the one to take charge. So the confidence will remove the hesitation. And the second thing is there is a call to action. People do not act unless a call to act has been made. It is the salesperson's job to ask. I mean, all of these are calls to action. Which unit would you be confirming? It's a call to action. How do you plan to make the down payment on this? Call to action. Let's just finish the paperwork on this so we discuss what happens next. Always put a call to action if you're expecting a closure. Okay? If you wait, the client will buy the time for himself. So, would you agree that these come with confidence? Absolutely. And who can be more confident about real estate in Dubai other than you? Because you're part of this industry, you should have the confidence in it. Because remember, confidence transfers, but uncertainty transfers faster. Okay? Don't ever let them in. How do they see uncertainty? Tone of voice changes, pausing between sentences, silence is coming into the conversation. It is clear, there is uncertainty. So don't let that happen to you. Okay, take a picture, I'm moving this slide. All done? Okay, fair enough. Now the second one, like I told you, I'll start with the simple ones and then get into the ones that are a little more tricky. So we'll talk about the assumptive close. Now the assumptive close is something you use where the client is actually giving you some good indicators that he's in this process with you. He's asking the relevant questions, he's readily giving you answers, some positive buying signals are being given. In this case, you don't ask if he wants to buy or not. Okay, you will move him into a state of mind where he goes from thinking of, instead of thinking, should I buy, he moves to, what do I buy? Okay, so that's where you will take it. So in an assumptive close, it's almost like the alternate close. You will give a couple of options, but you're assuming the close here. So here's an example. So would you be preferring the higher floors with better views or the lower floors that are closer to the amenities? So I'm not asking if he wants to buy. Which of these is your preference today? And this is an example. I can only give you generic examples. You'll have to create it based on the product that you're selling. Here's another. Okay, I'll give you another one on the next slide. So why this works? Firstly, the focus has shifted from whether to buy to what to buy. That's what happens here. It also creates momentum. It's a call to action. This is also a call to action. Which one do you prefer? on a higher floor with a better view, or on a lower floor closer to the amenities. Sometimes be careful, beachfront. When you go to beachfront, the better views, we know this from history of transactions, are not the higher floors. It's always lower floors. People love to see the beach. They like to see people on the beach. They want to see a bit of action. Up there you'll see birds flying. Okay, so just be a little bit careful. You have to know, based on the personality of the product, you will give the option here, right? Now, let's go to the alternative close. Those are the easy ones. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this is good for those buyers who are already showing you some buying indicators. The signals are there. Okay? So we look at the alternate close. Come back. Okay. Done? Alright. Okay, you know what? My bad. I know when the points are stopping, so I'll tell you take a picture. In case you're waiting to see if there's any other point coming, I will tell you, right? Then you can take the picture. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the alternative close. In the alternative close, it's again giving options to the client. So it's not about whether I should buy, it's about what I should buy. So I'll give you 2-3 examples here in the alternate close, okay? Just give 2 options, that's it, never give more than that. So here's an example. So would you be proceeding, look at this, okay? It's not, do you want to buy? So would you be proceeding with a 20% down payment option, or would you be taking the 50-50 payment plan? This is how you give alternatives, okay? The second one is, would you prefer the 2-bedroom for higher rental yields, or the 3 bedrooms with greater capital appreciation? Which one would you prefer? You ask it this way. Now, what's the logic of using these approaches? People never make the decision at the end. They are making up their mind during the process. Now all I have to do is, in your head, you know, okay, you have decided yes or no. But if I've done all my checks, there's no reason for you not to make the decision. I'll just give you which of the 2 options are you going to go for here, okay? Options will always do that. So the client will choose between the options rather than deciding whether they should buy or not. Okay, wrap-ups are very simple. Huh? These are wrap-ups. I just use the word closing and because that's how you resonate with it. But this is just a summary. You can take your pictures. This slide is done. Okay, all done? Okay. What do I have next? Okay, the scarcity clause. Now the scarcity clause again works very well in Dubai because the history of this market actually demonstrates buyer regrets. People who said let's wait, and they lost it. Examples, people who delayed when they bought at Palm Jumeirah, when they delayed at the downtown at Dubai Marina. There are many of them who carry the regret even today. So in a market like Dubai, when off-plan particularly has good demand, depending on the kind of developer, this technique works. We see launches are selling out. Yeah, so there are people who may have put EOIs, but they don't even get units. So this is the way you can do it, okay? So in this, you're going to talk about a scarcity, and the reason it works is good investors, if what you're presenting makes sense, understand the supply-demand correlation in it. Okay, so here's what you do. There are only 3 corner units left in this stack. In this inventory that has been released, we have only 3 corner units. Now, historically, we have already seen that the first to appreciate are these kind of units because their supply is limited. So that is what you do. You say, historically, we know that the corner units appreciate better than the units in the middle. And since there's only 3 left in this stack, you need to take a decision on this now. Okay? So that's what you do. Now it works because the smart investors understand the relationship between the supply and demand, because that will increase premium on rental yields as well as capital appreciation. Alright? Let's take an example. Okay. Villa Del Gavi is a building on Dubai Islands. Okay. Did you know that in Villa Del Gavi there's only 3 units of the same configuration? So the developer by design has already created scarcity in the luxury product. It's already a building with not much inventory, but then within that, they have made sure that every single unit in there has got only 3. Now what happens when you buy into a unit like that? Tomorrow if you want to rent it or put it on an Airbnb, there's only 3 units. The probability of another unit being there is extremely low. So it keeps you with the premium on the rent. And the same thing will happen at exit when you want to resell. Always be careful, and I'm speaking generic about the market. Always be careful of developers who will flood a community with a lot of units which are cookie cutter. They look the same. The building names have been changed, or they'll have a 1, 2, 3, they'll go with all of that, but they're all the same. Studio 1, 2, 3 bedroom, they look exactly the same. It's dangerous. It's dangerous because in one community, if demand is in the community, and I'm going to put 1,500 units, 2,000 units in that community, tomorrow if my buyer wants to rent it out, there's probably 600 units available on Bayut and Property Finder. So he does not have leverage. In fact, the owner that puts it out at the lowest asking price, 75,000, while others are asking at 80, the lowest price becomes the asking price. Because my unit is only one option in the middle of 500 units. So the developer in that case is not really thinking in the interest of the buyer. If I want to resell it and I put it out into the market, there's probably 150 units available. So the options are with the next buyer, not with the first buyer. So you don't have leverage. So that is the reason why the smart buyers understand the relationship between the supply and demand. So you can use the stack, okay? The fear of missing out will always be there because I know I can't get that type of a unit. But the other unit is 300 in the market. I can get something. Okay, so again, why this thing works for us, you use many trigger phases. So I'm just giving you some examples of the phrases. You could use something like a premium stack. This is the last premium stack coming out from the developer in this community. Or you can talk about a very special payment plan inventory. On this payment plan, we have only this kind of inventory. Or you might even talk of a launch pricing window. That is the reason why everybody is sitting in a Coca-Cola arena praying to every god under heaven that he gets a unit. Yeah, 2,000 units get launched by a premium developer, 6,500 EOIs. Guaranteed for every 3 EOIs, 2 are going away without a unit. So that has been created because the scarcity clause has been offered to you. Okay, you can take a picture. I'm moving from this. All done? Okay. What do I have next? Future vision clause. Okay. Would you agree that off-plan is about the future? Yes? Not only about the completion, it's about the demand in that area 3 years later, 5 years later. It's about the economy, everything at that stage. So therefore, for closing off-plan, the buyer needs to have future vision. They need to understand what's going to happen in the future. And that's what you have to be able to position to them. Okay? So imagine standing on this balcony 3 years later, looking out over the waterfront, knowing that your property has already appreciated by 60%. That's the close you will bring. Okay, imagine 3 years from now, you're on the balcony with your family, you're watching the yachts in the marina, and you know that the property has already appreciated 60% by then in just 3 years. So you use the future vision clause here. That's why it works, okay? So it's just imagination, future value. Why do you think sales centers have got show apartments? Because most people cannot imagine the future, what it looks like. So we create a unit and we will actually jazz it up so that you can see what it looks like. Just be careful when you show them the units, that's not what they're going to get. It won't have those furnishings, the same tasteful color combinations, none of that will be there. So you just want to be careful when you are presenting the show unit, tell them this is what your home could look like. Okay? That's what you do. So you can talk future lifestyle, you can talk future wealth, you can talk opportunity, and you can also talk future regret avoidance. Palm Jumeirah, Palm Jebel, first launch, second launch, third launch, people have missed out. And today, people are all regretting that. They always waited. Now, people have been waiting for the last 3 to 4 months. Yeah, now you're going to see a difference happening to the price. They're going to regret now, guaranteed. Okay, in the market. Picture again? Okay. Well, I just put so many pieces and I'm not sure of that. Okay. The alignment clause. Okay. In the alignment clause, what you're going to do is get the client to resonate with the product. So it's almost like a summary that you're going to do, like a review on what you have presented as the solution. And you get the client to agree. Now, this even works very well when you do it on a paper. You could even write things down. I have found when you sit with a client and you take an A4 paper and you write a few things down, especially when you go into the wrapper, clients dive into that conversation. If it's old money you're dealing with, use a paper and pen. Please don't bring out an iPad in front of them. Old money loves to work on paper. They think on paper. You're working with millennials or the Gen Zs, all of them, open up your iPad or just do it even on your phone. It's about resonating on a comfort level with your client. So always just think about it. Who's the person in front of me? If it is old money, take a paper. They love that. Okay? So here's what you would do. Okay? I would tell them, and you can take the name of the client. I'll say, Ahmed, let's just recap what this opportunity offers. Now, the key things that you have talked about, you'll mention. Maybe it was a waterfront location. Maybe it had a nice 7-year payment plan. These are just samples, yeah? You can put anything in there. There's a potential 15% annual appreciation because it's an island. You're going to get an attractive rental yield projected at 8%. The amenities and the lifestyle in this community is going to be the European life that you're bringing into Dubai. And it is fitting within the timeline that you're looking for an exit or for a home to live in. That is the reason why these things you don't talk to the person. You take a paper and then you'll say, Ahmed, let's just recap what this offers to you. And you just write it one by one. As you write it one by one, everything that you presented before comes back to their mind. Because remember when you're pitching, you're moving on in the conversation. They've forgotten whatever you said already. So just write it. It's there on the paper, staring up at them. And then you will come with your closing statement. You'll say, this opportunity ticks all the boxes in terms of what you're looking for. Let's just simply select the unit which gives you these the best, shall we? That's your recap. Okay? So it's an alignment. I'm aligning the product and what it offers to the need that you have as a summary, and it's on paper. Okay? Trust me, try this, it works powerfully. Now this is easier in a face-to-face meeting. You can even do it in a Zoom because you have a whiteboard that you can pull down. Doesn't work very well on the phone, truthfully. If you want to use it on the phone, just use one or two things. Let's just recap, John, if this actually takes care of your needs. Your 3 most important requirements were 1, 2, and 3. Why don't we just select the unit that gives you these the best? Just do it shorter on the phone. Okay? Take a picture. Done? Okay. So it works because you do 2 things, yeah? Logical, which is left brain certainty, emotional, which is the right brain certainty. So the whole brain approach is there. Why? This is all the logic. Firstly, when you write things down, point by point, bullet points, that is already sequence and structure. That's left brain. And when you put the numbers in there and what really mattered to him, then that works logically. Now he feels good when he can see all of it, because you know the product, you presented it 100 times, you've seen it the first time. Bring it back on paper with him. It's as simple as that. Now he can see, he makes a decision better. Okay? Just one bit of advice. A tower or a community today has got so many offerings. Please don't write one big long list. People will lose their patience and they will recognize you're trying to push this. You have done your qualification, you have found out what's the reason you are considering an opportunity on the islands today. And you've got his key reasons. Just put that. Let him focus on that only. A lot of salespeople lose deals because they try and talk about everything in the community. There are 47 different lifestyle opportunities on the islands. But the client is not interested in all of them. So there's no point in trying to tell him what's good on the island is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 16, 17. They're already switched off. And the real danger is what I really want is now hidden in the middle of all of these things. So I'm not even focusing on the thing that influences my decision. So be smart about it, understand the requirement, and only present that. Large communities are created for multiple lifestyles and people. You'll have golf courses on the island, but I don't play golf. But that part was not for you. It was meant for those who would love to play golf on an island destination. Maybe you love the shopping, we got the mall for you. Maybe you're interested in culture and heritage, we have the culture village for you. So you just need to present what makes sense, because it's about alignment. It's not about the information. Does this make sense? Okay, so that's what you need to do. I'll tell you this, you try it in your next 3 meetings. Go with an alignment course. Finish your presentation and just tell the client, let's just recap what this offers. Take a paper and write down just those key things. Then go with this close. Now this opportunity ticks all the boxes based on what you wanted. So let's just select which unit best gives you these, shall we? You will see the number. Okay, try it. Okay, what do I have next? Okay, the investment logic. Again, this is very much like a left brain close that you're going to do, and it's future focused. So it's simply you're going to talk about an appreciation and things like that. But you do it in 2 parts here. Okay, the first is you'll talk about the actual potential for growth. The second, you'll talk about an accelerated rate of growth. There's 2 parts to the answer. So the first part, I would simply say you're investing approximately 2 million in this opportunity. Now, if appreciation averages around 10% a year in that community, that means in 3 years, you are going to make approximately 600,000 or more. Then you will come with this. This is where the ROE concept will come in. You will say, what makes this really work for you is the fact that you are paying marginally over the few years, which increases the rate of your return. Now, the smart investors look for 2 things. Okay? The first thing they look for is capital growth potential. The second thing they look at is accelerated growth potential. Can I quicken or make this growth rate faster? And that is the reason why you will put both together. First you will talk about the growth potential, then you will talk about the rate of return, the accelerated growth. That usually comes with the ROE model. So that's how you use the investment logic approach. Okay, pictures done?
No.
Oh. Done? Okay. What I have here? Alright, the comparison tools. Okay, this is something you will hear a lot in the markets nowadays because we have handovers that are actually happening over the last 3 years. So people will tend to sometimes compare an off-plan unit with a ready unit. They compare it from risk aversion. In their head, people's understanding is if I buy a ready unit, my risk is minimized. Not true. It is not true, okay? The type of buyer who goes for a ready inventory is a security buyer who does not want to take risk. But he understands his commitment is much higher. Why? When you buy something which is ready, it has already gone past its prime capital appreciation. Capital appreciates the most during the construction period. After that, the community goes into a maturity stage, which will have a much slower capital appreciation. What they make money on is the rental yield will enter the picture. So if it's a capital appreciation, it is always going to be in the off-plan. So a lot of clients sometimes want to compare the off-plan and the secondary, and they'll even tell you that off-plan today is more expensive than secondary. So that's a different topic from this, but I'll just give you an insight into that. When you buy something, okay, the secondary, the unit might be 4 million. This is a 4.5 million off-plan launch. You need to understand that what is showing 4 million on the books now as a ready unit was launched at 2.1. It was launched actually at 2.1. So that 1.9 that you are paying is you are paying the capital appreciation of the earlier investor. That is why those guys go in early. He made almost 100%. And you're going to pay that upfront, 100% equity. So you lose out on the opportunity. So you're looking at the selling point of the secondary and you're looking at the entry point of the new off-plan. This new off-plan at 4.5 today will be 7 million in 3 years. So you need to calculate the rate of return in the 3 years time, which will show me how much I'm going to make. So that's how you, plus I'm coming in with the lesser risk because I'm going to come in on a staged payment. I'll come in at the place where there is maximum growth in that community in terms of the capital appreciation because it's early entry. Okay? So here's how you could do it. In case it comes up, I would simply say, if you buy ready, and by the way, ready property is not bad yet. It is good for a person who does not take the risk in investment and who wants a steady long-term return. That's perfect. So you always qualify your clients. You can always ask your client in the rapport building stage. From my experience, we have two types of investors in Dubai. We have the opportunity investors and we have the security investors. Which type are you? It's a great question to ask, because most of them will tell you what you need. Then you can explain to them. The security investors are the ones who usually come late into the project cycle or when the property is ready for release. They're security based, so they don't want to play with their own money. They probably mortgage the property. Or they would put their money in a ready state because they know, or they'll come 80% into the cycle because they know the building will complete. They already understand they'll pay a higher price, more aggressive payment plan, rate of return has dropped, but they sleep well at night. Those are the security investors. Opportunity investors, on the other hand, come early. Okay, they want the maximum returns, the softest price, the longest payment plans, and the maximum flexibility in terms of exit potential. They do take the risk, but they know they make the highest returns. Which type are you? You can never lose if you ask this question to a client. It builds trust also, by the way, a lot. Okay, so you can just ask them that. So, if you buy ready property today, you're entering at mature pricing. Mature pricing means it has stabilized, right? Mature pricing with slower capital growth and 100% equity upfront. Then you will bring in the off-plan. Okay? You will say with off-plan, you leverage early mover advantage and you use a pattern of 3. With softer pricing, faster capital growth, and lower equity risk. Your closing question comes here. When an opportunity offers all 3, it isn't about should I buy, but rather which one do I? That's the way you do it. Okay? Use the pattern of 3. The pattern of 3 is very, very powerful. I'm not going to go back into it because in the previous modules we did it in the objection handling. Okay? So that's what you do. Now, why this thing works with people? People like to buy through comparison, not through isolation. People will always compare. I'm sure you notice it, right? Your clients are always comparing you to something. Now, comparisons can come in 4 different ways. The one comparison could simply be the ready investment opportunity versus the off-plan. The second could be Dubai itself versus opportunities in other global cities. Because we have international buyers. They might compare Dubai to Miami or Dubai to, let's say, Spain, anything like that. Third is this developer versus the competition. They tend to compare on this and they do location. Premium waterfront, gated communities, downtown urban contemporary lifestyle. So people tend to do a lot of these kind of comparisons. Early moment of entry into a community versus an advanced state of completion in the communities. They look at all of these. They tend to generally compare. Okay, so in a comparison, this is what you can use as a technique, particularly if it is the off-plan versus the second. Take a picture, I'm going to move. Okay, the micro commitment, I talked to you about this earlier. There's 2. There's a commitment ladder and there's a micro commitment process. Okay, so the micro commitment process is getting the client to actually tell you yes a few times as a summary of everything you've done. Now there's a school of thought in sales that you don't get the client to say yes, you get the client to say no. And I agree with that school. But that school of getting the client to say no is not meant to be done at the end. It's meant to be done early. Because when clients come into a meeting, we already see, we don't trust salespeople, right? So there is a hesitation, and somewhere at the back of my mind, I want an opportunity to say no. Because there's tension in me as a buyer till I can say the no. The no needs to come out. So if I'm not allowing the client the opportunity to be able to say no, then he's not ready to even listen to you. People listen better after they've said the no. Now they're willing to listen to you. So when you don't allow people that opportunity, then the challenge is you're presenting, but they're not really listening to what you're saying. They're listening for where can I say no. There is a great book, you can pick it up, it's called Start With No. And it's by Jim Camp, he's an FBI negotiator. Very good book where he talks about no. Okay? This, what we're talking, is later on, after you build the trust. Once you build the trust, there's no reason for people to say no to you. It should be a yes. You have qualified correctly, presented a great solution. Now I want to go into closing. You could use alignment close. Okay, let's recap what we have done so far. Take a paper, you can do that. In a similar way, we are going to use what's called a micro comment. Small yeses. How do you eat the elephant? One bite at a time. That's what we're going to do. So I need the client to just agree with certain things. So it's like a recap. So I would simply say, Ahmed, it's important that we align on key influences before you make your decision. Nobody walks away when you say that. It is important that we align on certain key influences before you make the decision. So I'd simply say, do you agree that Dubai outperforms most cities on capital growth? They will tell you this. Because logically, you would have presented many of these things in the presentation. So would you agree that Dubai actually outperforms most global cities on capital growth? Oh yeah, that's true. Then I would turn to say, do you agree or do we agree that this location actually makes sense for capital growth? They'll have to tell you yes if you've done the right presentation. So you see what's happening now? 2 yeses have come already into their head on small things that were non-threatening to them. Third, do we agree that this developer has positioned a premium lifestyle? Again, you'll get the yes if you've done your job right. So all these questions are actually engineered to get you that. Fourth, do we agree that the investment plan actually gives you a better equity position or option? When you have a 35-65 on the island, you have a lot to play with in terms of the ROE potential, right? And then you can agree on timing. Do we agree that the timing now will actually optimize your growth potential? Now, once they say yes to these, then you will do a simple recap, okay? Since we agree on the fundamentals, let's secure the best available unit for you, shall we? That's it. Because once a person has said so many yeses, they cannot say no to you after that. Plus, you have reminded them of everything again in a very positive way. So why this will work for you is you get small yeses instead of waiting for one big yes at the end. And the second reason it works is people are consistent with their own answers. So if they have said yes, they'll just keep saying the yes to you. Okay, it's called the micro commit. So I'm getting them to commit to small things. And then go with the closing action. Take a picture, let's move. Down. Okay, the next one, slightly similar approach but shorter, is called the commitment ladder. Yeah, the commitment ladder again is going to get them to say yes. But you're going to do something different. You're going to bring a tag into the statement. You'll make a statement and you'll end it with a question. Okay, so each statement will have a question at the end, and you will see they will tell you yes to this. Okay, so here's an example. I'll just put 3 questions here. So I'll start by saying, Ahmed, you've seen how this opportunity actually gets you some great returns, haven't you? If you've done the right job, we cannot say that. Right? So the next one, you've also seen why this community actually minimizes your risk, haven't you? They will tell you yes. So I'm doing the same thing in a slightly different way and getting him to say yes. And the third question I'll simply say is, we've taken care of all your questions on this, haven't we? I've seen some people say this by saying, we've taken care of all your concerns on this, haven't we? Concern is a negative word to use in sales. Just try to always use neutral or positive words. So I would just simply, because if I had a concern, they would have voiced it, yeah, to you. So we've taken care of all questions on this, haven't we? I said, well, yeah, we've taken care of that. In that case, let's just go ahead and finish the paperwork on this, shall we? So you see the tag. The tag is being used every day. So many ways you can use the tag. After early capital appreciation is important for profitability, isn't it? Only a donkey will say no. Okay, your interest is optimizing on your rental yields, isn't it? How can you say no to these things? Yeah? Okay, you don't want to pay a premium on pricing at a later stage, do you? So this is the power of using the tag. Okay? So that's how you use it, the commitment ladder. Picture that? Finished? Okay. Now, risk reversal clause. Would you agree offline carries risk? Yes. And especially when you work with a lot of investors, international, who've never done offline before. They're curious. You'll get this especially with a lot of investors who come from Singapore, from the UK, basically most of Europe. You'll get it from the US, Australia, because they don't have big off-plan markets. So their frame of reference, their understanding is ready homes. That's how I understand property. Let's take an example. If you're from the UK, your understanding of real estate is it's a 96% ready home market. So the same homes have been sold 4 to 5 times in the last 100 years. Because they're older homes as well, right? So I'm in a market which has 96% ready homes, 72% of them are bought on a mortgage. There's an exclusive listing with only one agent allowed, and there's a solicitor, a lawyer in every process. So I don't have to worry about risk. Now this guy is coming to Dubai, gets his understanding of real estate, and he says, what, I have to put money on sand? He's never put money on sand in his life. And he says, by the way, where is the lawyer? And we are in Dubai saying, what lawyer are you talking about? So it's just two people sitting very, very differently in the process. Okay, so the alignment there is already out of whack. So in risk reversal, remember I'm keeping today about off-plan, not secondary. So I have to use certain elements in my answer, all of which are risk reversal components. Okay, so let's look at some of them. Escrow protection is one thing that you can use. So investors' monies are protected in a government-regulated bank rather than going to a developer. Another example you can give is payment flexibility. When the plans are softer, your risk is spread over 3, 5, 7 years rather than everything upfront. So that also minimizes or manages risk. Third one you can talk about is the market fundamental, because real estate is always driven by demand and supply. It is always driven by growth models and by future performance. Dubai has the answers to all of that as growth models. So these are things you want to bring into your closing approach. I'll give you 3 more, right? Attractive yields, again, easy to prove why Dubai does give attractive yields. Exit options, it is important. If I cannot exit from an investment, I'm at risk. So people need to understand their risk and legacy of developers, the history of the developer, their track record. So many of these things can be used in the answer, so you can reduce the perception of risk with the client. Now, when you do these, use these as a pattern of 3. Combine them in groups of 3 when you use. How many of you attended the objection handling modules? Okay, not many. So let me take 2 minutes to talk to you about the pattern of 3, because I keep saying pattern of 3, pattern of 3. You have to understand what this is. All of us as humans are creatures of unconscious pattern. We are driven by what is in our subconscious mind. We don't resist what is in our subconscious mind. That's a place of comfort. Now the pattern of 3 is in our subconscious mind. This was created from when we were kids. When you started going to school, you learned in patterns of 3. Language was taught to you as good, better, best. Tall, taller, tallest. Small, smaller, smallest. So from when we were kids, anything given to us in a pattern of 3 entered a space where there was acceptance. So as we grew in life, we never lost that space. So what you do, this is the psychology of the wrap-up, yeah? When you are closing, you use patterns of 3. Because the moment you use a pattern of 3, their mind recognizes, I've heard patterns like this before, and I'm comfortable with those patterns. So you speak into the area of comfort. Look at all the nursery rhymes that we had. Hickory dickory dock, which is a pattern of 3. Goldilocks and the 3 bears. 3 blind mice. 3 little pigs. Why 3? I don't know, but it was there. You took part in sports, it was ready, set, go. Pattern of 3. If you won a prize, it was gold, silver, bronze. If you were good in academics, it was always first, second, third. Go to Starbucks, how many options they'll give you? Go to Pizza Hut, 3. Everything we understand in life is patterned in 3. Time is measured as past, present, future. All matter in the universe is solid, liquid, gas. All dimensions of measurements is length, breadth, and height. Now I could go on this forever. We don't need to. We just need to understand that somewhere in the back of our head, there is a space where anything given in a pattern of 3 goes in without resistance. The other reason it works, you're speaking to people. You'll say something in a pattern of 3 and you'll continue talking. If I tell a client the reason why this opportunity works best for you is because it has an amazing waterfront lifestyle, one thing, they can immediately attack it and say, the other guy also has got good waterfront. Because you gave him just one. And the place of comfort is not one, it is three. If I use two things, then he will compare of the two, which one was less attractive, immediately he can attack that. When I use three, firstly it's a comfort pattern. Secondly, if I have to compare, I have to compare 1 and 2, 2 and 3, and 1 and 3. And that's a lot to do when a person is still talking to you. So patterns of 3 means whatever you're putting as your key points, just fly in without resistance. Now you don't need to use this technique only in closing. You can use it in objection handling. You can say the reason why DLRC is going to work for you well is because of 1, 2 and 3. Makes sense? Sounds good? Just do that. When you present the solution, use it. The reason why the wow tower is getting so much of attention is 1, 2 and 3. Always use pattern of 3. You cannot go wrong with it. Okay? Also present in third party. Don't present as a sales guy. We already saw we don't trust salespeople. Take yourself out of the game. Bring people into your presentations, into your answers, who they trust, which is who? People like them. That's the reason why you will not say that Dubai Islands is a great opportunity because of 1, 2 and 3. The 1, 2 and 3 will work for you. A better way to say it is the reason why so many investors, people like you, are considering the islands is 1, 2 and 3. See what I mean? So what you do is you bring others into the game. You take yourself out as a salesman. So patterns of 3, third party work really well. Okay, so here's an example of how to use it. 2 paragraphs or 2 sentences, each will use 3. So all I will say is the reason why smart investors, third party. Okay, the reason why smart investors choose Dubai is because risk is reduced through escrow regulation, phased payment opportunities, and market demand. 3. Additionally, Dubai offers great yields, multiple exit possibilities, and legacy developments. And then just go with the question after that. So, which unit would you like to go? Now, why this works is because whenever people are deciding on our plan, the question in their head always is, what if something goes wrong? What if the economy collapses? What if there is another pandemic? What if there is a war? All of that. So, what you need to do is there's a fear coming in. Kill the fear, the deal will move. Okay? So you kill the fear by putting in the things that will build confidence about why you should consider it. Now I'm giving you many techniques. You choose whichever one works for you. Ideally, you just need 2 or 3 techniques. Master those. Whichever one you resonate with, the chemistry is there, just take those and use it. But I'm just giving so many because we have a lot of people. Different people will resonate differently with these. Right? Move on. Okay, it's the silence close. This is actually a very simple close. And it's so simple, it's so short, the client is taken by surprise. Okay? It's almost like the direct close. The direct close in the beginning was which unit would you like to go for? Right? That sort of thing. So I'll first get him to say one yes. That's all. Take the name of the client if you want. I'll simply say, so Ahmed, this project actually provides a unique opportunity, doesn't it? So the tag is coming again. But it's very difficult once the tag comes to say no. Right. So I'll simply say this project provides a unique opportunity, doesn't it? So the client will say yes in some form or the other. Let's say simple, it does look promising. Just go straight to the close. So Ahmed, shall I go ahead and reserve the unit for you? Now he has to take the call. Okay, so it's so simple, he doesn't expect this to come suddenly at that moment. But he has just left the conversation on yes. So in that case, shall I just reserve this unit? Try that. Okay? This needs confidence. Done? Okay. I got about 4 or 5 more for today, and then I think we should be done for today. Others, it's overlooked information. Now, global benchmark close actually is a good one, particularly when you are talking to international investors. You can even use it for local investors because they tell you, well, price is too high. PSF has gone up. It was not like this 3 years ago. Dubai is getting expensive. So the way to do it is by comparison with global markets. And international investors are going to do that anyway. They're going to compare based on their Miami investment, their Singapore investment, Shanghai, what they may have done. They will tend to do these comparisons, right? So you should know typically what is the price per square foot in most of the big metro cities. This information is all available. Social media posts are always coming out with this. Knight Frank report always has the destination to buy reports. You should know these numbers. Now, if you can play smart, if the client is from the UK, he will definitely have some idea of the pricing in the UK. Just go to a chat GPT and say, what is the average price per square foot in London? Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3, whatever you're. Zone 1 is the most expensive, it's like our downtown area. So just do a chat GPT. If you know he's coming from Mozambique, just go and ask, okay, what's the average price per square foot in Mozambique? So I can have 2 or 3, don't use too many cities, 2 or 3 popular cities, but make sure one of them is from where he's from. Okay, now, in case he comes from a city where the prices are very cheap, then you don't include his city. There your strategy changes when you start saying, like all major cities in the world, so you go with Dubai compared with major cities. If he's coming from a city where it is high, I'll just bring those cities. So here's how you use it. Okay? I would simply say for the same price in London, you would get a 1-bedroom in Zone 2, which is not a very exciting place. Okay? In Hong Kong, you could get a 2-bedroom regular apartment in that price, and in Monaco, you would probably get almost 1 bedroom. Then you change it. You say, in Dubai, you're getting waterfront luxury that is tax-free with very high appreciation and yields. So that's where the comparison will come, but again use pattern of 3 in there. And then you simply ask him which unit works best for you. First, go with the global ones. Make sure his city's in it. In Sydney, you would pay an average of X amount per square foot. And what you would get in that is a regular 2-bedroom, not even waterfront. In Dubai, for the same price, you would get 1, 2, and 3. Then you go with those. Okay, pattern. So global, and global benchmarks work a lot because what is my comfort level if I'm coming out of India? Property in India. That is my pricing. That's what I tend to compare with. If I'm coming out of Egypt, I understand Egypt. So make sure you bring that in. So I touch his comfort space first, and then show him why Dubai makes sense. Okay? That's your approach. Picture taken? No? Okay. Okay, value stack. You have to go back? No, okay. So the value stack again uses the benefits of 3. The pattern of 3, trust me, works very well. That's why I have it a lot. Now in the value stack, what you're going to do in his head is you're just going to stack things one on top of the other. It's the same thing that you did on the paper in the alignment close. Okay, let's recap what we have seen so far. And you started to write things on the paper. Or when you did the micro commitment, do we agree that Dubai performs better? Do we agree that this developer has position? So what I'm doing is value stacking. Keep bringing these back. Firstly, they're a reminder of everything you said before. They summarize everything before you ask for the close. So it's a positive space he goes into. So in the value stack, again, just put them one on top of the other. The key in the value stack is you use the same tone. It's a very repetitive tone for all the stacks. So let me show it to you, then I'll show you how the tone is used. Okay? You're getting a waterfront property, European lifestyle with luxury lifestyle amenities. You see the pattern? Waterfront property, European lifestyle, luxury hotel amenities. Same tone. Then you'll add on and say, when it offers a strong payment plan of 50% appreciation in 3 years, the same tone is being, that's the stacking. A 50% appreciation in 3 years, and in the top performing market in the world, you already know this is a win for you. Patterns of 3, and you just stack it. And let's simply say, let's lock this in for you today, shall we? This is the direct close, by the way. So you stack it, you say it in the same way. You need that authority and that conviction, the way Jordan Belfort speaks about these things, yeah? So you talk about, let's look at why this works for you. Waterfront property, European lifestyle, luxury hotel amenities. Then we'll talk about an amazing payment plan, 50% appreciation in just 3 years, and in the top performing market in the world. You already know this is a win for you. Go with yours. Take a picture, we'll move. Okay. Fear of losing out on Dubai. Now, here you will use fast moving capital is the answer. Everybody knows the world buys in Dubai, right? Take the top 5 buying nationalities, just put them into the mix where you're talking. The key is to use is Dubai is attracting fast moving capital. Okay? Therefore, decisions are made quickly. So here's what you say. Dubai's property market is attracting fast moving global capital. Then you stack the Indians, the Russians, the Chinese, the Europeans, and the Saudis. You see the pattern, how you say it? That's a stack, yeah? They're all buying aggressively. And then simply tell them this. This is your moment before the prices climb higher. Which unit would you like to go? How would you like to proceed? Anything like that. But stack. Now, a bit of advice. When you take any of the techniques, you might need to go back and practice it a few times, okay? Don't just think you're going to master the technique like that. Practice makes? No, it doesn't. Nearly perfect. No. Practice never makes perfect. Because you can practice the wrong thing and you become good at doing that. How is it perfect?
Perfect practice.
No. Practice makes permanent. That's it. Would you agree that most of you are working on an unconscious pattern? You have developed a way of doing things? How did you get it? By practice. So now that has become permanent with you. So when you learn something that is new, it's new behavior. Your 2 years, 5 years, 10 years of sales is going to fight you. It's going to come against you. Because this is new behavior. So you're going to have to stick with it, do it a few times, then your brain recognizes a new pattern, and then it will work for you strong. Okay? A bit of advice I give most people when you're learning a new skill, and this is opposite of what people will tell you. When you are learning a new skill, go for quantity, not quality. We make a mistake because we go for quality first. We want it to work correctly. It is not going to work correctly because you've never done it in your life. So some uncertainty will be there. You will falter with some words. That's okay. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. And now your brain recognizes the pattern and it becomes very strong. For those of you who drive, are you driving today the way you drove the first time you sat in a car? Hopefully no. Yeah? So what happened? You moved from a place of uncertainty to a place of certainty because the pattern of driving has become unconscious. You don't sit in your car today and say, what do I do now? But the first time you sat, you were looking for every button. So now it's an unconscious pattern. It's the same thing. When you focus on quality, the quantity will stop. This does not work. So you'll stop doing it. Do it the other way around. Focus on the quantity. When you keep doing the quantity, quality will automatically grow. So you really want the quality to come, put the quantity in first. Okay? So you need to practice it. Okay. The transition to action flows. I think it's a really cool one to use. It requires confidence. Again, it's a very short thing. Just make one statement where the client agrees and immediately go for a call to action. So here again, I would simply say, can you see why the Wow Tower is attracting so much interest from buyers today? They should be able to say yes if you present it correctly. Or can you see why DLRC is now called the new population growth corridor in Dubai? Anything you want, just use that and get them to say yes. Once they say yes, I can see that. Or yeah, that makes sense. I'll simply say perfect. The next step is just a copy of your passport and the booking amount. And I'll get the paperwork done on this and send things over to you immediately. It's hard for them to walk away from that after this. But make them say the yes first. And then just do call to action. So you're basically, you see, the transition is to the transaction. You're moving into the action. That's all. Like I said, closing should be simple. Okay, let's move on. Again. I'm just going to give you 3 or 4 more techniques and then we'll wrap. Yeah? You guys have to work on me also. Okay, Ben Franklin close. Anyone heard of it? Ben Franklin close? Very cool technique to use. Okay, very smart. You can even use this with your husbands and wives. But then for now, we'll keep it together. Okay, start by telling, take the name of the guy. I said John or Ahmed. Okay, why don't we use the Ben Franklin method to see if this actually works for me? What do you think they'll say? Oh, it's the Ben Franklin clause. But the moment they say that, you got curiosity and they gave you control. That's all, and you look very cool with this method, alright? So, and you will see patterns of 3 are being used here also, right? So Ahmed, why don't we use the Ben Franklin method to see if this actually works for you? So, what do you mean? Or what is the Ben Franklin method? Now you will give 2 sentences in patterns of 3. The first one you'll say is, Benjamin Franklin was America's first self-made millionaire. Now, in the current political situation, this may not work with an Iranian client, or a Russian client. You take it forward. Okay? So, Benjamin Franklin was America's first self-made millionaire. All 3 positive words and a pattern of 3. First is always good, self-made is good, millionaire is good. Then you will say he was also an inventor, a writer, and a politician. Now, here you're going to use a paper or you use your digital pad if it is your Gen Zs, right? So here's the technique is going on to 2 slides. So take a picture here. The actual technique is on the 2nd slide. This is just mind setting the guy, right? So I'll just do the same thing again. Listen to the tonality. Okay? So Ahmed, why don't we use the Ben Franklin method to see if this really works for you? What do you mean? I'll say Benjamin Franklin was America's first self-made millionaire. He was also a writer, an inventor, and a politician. Now I go into the technique. Okay? Now, timing is very important. So I would simply say, every time Ben had to make a major decision, he would take a paper and draw a line down the middle. Now, when you take the paper, this is how you will do it. Okay? Every time Ben had to make a major decision, he would take a paper. So you take the paper when you say take a paper. He would take a paper and he would draw a line down the middle. You draw the line when you say draw the line. Actually, your mind will jump into what I'm doing itself now. Take a paper, draw a line. That's what you do. Now listen to what he will have to say. And so on one side, he would write down the positives, the reasons he had to go ahead with the decision. So you can write down positives, the reasons he had to go ahead. You tick on the go ahead. Now, on the other side, he would write down, don't say negatives, he would write down the challenges he had to take care of, when he said, before he made the decision. You will not say the challenges because of which he should not make the decision. You will imply the decision in both cases. So the first one, I'm going to repeat this again, so I'm going to show you all the patterns also. Okay? Every time Ben had to make a major decision, he would take a paper and he would draw a line down the middle. Now on one side he would write down the positives or the reasons he had to go ahead with the decision. On the other side he would write down the challenges he needed to overcome before he made the decision. Then you will tell him, now John, why don't we work this together? What are some reasons you should go ahead with this? And you start writing them on the paper. Don't write 25 reasons, just the key ones, and make sure his name is in it. So you can do it too. Sometimes the client may tell you, oh, this is actually very cool, my kids won't have to travel far to school. You may not have thought about it, but he can bring it out. So you just write 5, 6 max, don't write more. Just make sure all his needs are in. So, and the way you do this, Ahmed, why don't we work this together? What are some reasons you should go ahead with this? Write them down. Now you will turn the paper around and then you will tell him, now Ahmed, why don't you tell me what we need to take care of before you make the decision? And you will not help on this side of the paper. The first one, let's do this together. In the second one, I would simply turn the paper and say, now why don't you tell me what we need to take care of before you own this opportunity? Put the pen down in front of him and you shut up. You have to shut up. Salespeople talk too much. Keep quiet. Now, even the smartest guy will only be able to give you 3 reasons. That's it. One of them will always be price.
Yes.
Okay. Usually they'll give you 2. So one of them will be price. So let's say he says price. Maybe he might say completion timeline. Maybe he might say payment. I don't know. Okay? Whatever. So if it is price, for example, the first thing I'll say, well, that's interesting. When you say price, what exactly do you mean? Talk to him about it, deal with it and say, does that answer your question satisfactorily? Well, yeah, that answered the question. Now here's what you do. You put a tick and you scratch it out. You don't leave it there on the paper. Okay, does that answer your question satisfactorily? Well, yeah, that answered the question. Okay, tick, scratch. Go to the second one. When you say payment plan, what exactly do you mean? Answer that, put a tick, scratch. You have to scratch it out. Because the mind is crazy. When you draw a line, the mind jumps into it. When you scratch something, the mind actually scratches it. But it's still on the paper for him to see. And then the third one, you put a tick, scratch it out. Once you have done this, I will simply look at the paper and say, well, Ahmed, looks like we made a decision, haven't we? Welcome to the investor family and welcome. That's all you do. And then you can support it. So, by the way, we forgot. At the wow tower, you also get this and this. Add one or two more things just for him to feel he's getting more than what he's paying for. But if you go and throw everything in the beginning, you have nothing to use later. This is like the icing on the cake. So have one or two really good things, but don't throw them out. You will use them after you've done. Now the paper's in front of him. He can see the reasons why it works. He can see that the challenges have been taken care of. And he saw the additional benefits. Then open it. That's it. It's a Ben Franklin method. Yeah? Okay. Two more techniques and I'm going to stop. Now there is a technique which is called the suggestive objection technique. Now the suggestive objection technique is where the client is sitting with you, he's not making, should be that here, he's not making any decision. Now I cannot allow the silence to come in because he's actually thinking about to get out of it rather than stay in it. So I have to push the process forward. If he's hesitating, there is some concern or just fear or anxiety. But I need him to start talking. The more he thinks, he's going to say, let me come back next week, right? So I don't want to do that. So there is a formula that you have to use it. So I'm going to give you the formula first. Then there is a very specific tone that you have to use. So I will demonstrate these to you, okay? And then I'll give you the actual statements. So here's the formula. Negative, first you use the name of the person, John, Ahmed, whatever. A negative statement you will make. The negative has to come first. Then a positive statement which is very similar to the negative. So I'll put the positive to cancel out the negative. Okay? That's the psychology behind this. So name, negative, positive, objection. You will put the objection on the table. He's not saying anything. But the only objection you will use is money. Because everybody talks about money. You're not going to use completion date, markets conditions, right? Because then you'll open more objects. Just money. I'm not sure you how to do it. And please make sure you follow the shut up part. Yeah? Shut up is part of the formula. Salespeople talk too much. And I'll guarantee you this. Whoever breaks the silence first loses. Guaranteed. So you better shut up. Okay, the tone that you will use is more of a I care about you. It's a concern tone, okay? So let me give it to you first, then I'll put it up here. So listen to the tone. So I would simply say, now I've reached a point where I've presented everything, he's got no objections, but he's not making a decision, and I don't want the silence to come. So I would simply say, this is the tone. It's an I care tone. Either this is not a good opportunity, in which case we both agree you shouldn't go. Or it's an amazing opportunity, we both agree you should go. Something seems to be holding you back. Is it the money? Now he has to say something. If he says, well, no, it's not really the money, I say, well, may I ask, what is it? There will be something else. Or he says, no, actually, truthfully, I don't have a concern. Because they're just hesitating, right? The speed bump has come. I'll say, well, in that case, let's just lock in the unit that works best for you, shall we? I can go with a direct cruise in that case. So here's how you do it, right? So, either this is not a good opportunity, in which case we both agree you should go. Or it's an amazing opportunity. You see, I'm cancelling it out by saying the opposite statement. Or it's an amazing opportunity and we both agree you should go for it. Something seems to be holding you back. Is it the money? you share. It's a great technique to use because if there's any hesitation in them, they will pull it out. So it's actually part of the that you're going to do here. Okay? The next technique, it's called the sudden death. I know it's a fancy name. I can't help it. I didn't name the technique, right? But it works. It's very powerful. It is similar to this with one change in the formula and in the tone. Now tell me if you've had these kind of clients. They take up your time. First meeting, second meeting, third meeting, sometimes sixth meeting. 6 months have gone and this clown hasn't decided yet. You have any of those? Multiple meetings? Yeah. Let me ask you this. What are you saying in meeting 3, 4, and 5 that's different from meeting 1 and 2? It's always the same. It just goes back the same way. So there is no sense in having those kind of meetings again and again. You're not sleeping for 3 months thinking about this guy. He's not even thinking about you during the 3 months. Why would you go ahead with these meetings? Kill it. For me, first meeting is a closure meeting. Now, if it doesn't close in the first, maximum I will give him is a second meeting. He doesn't deserve a third meeting with me. What do I tell you anyway? I told you everything. Meeting 1. And I repeated it in meeting 2. So I would never give 3. So I will do my sudden death in the second one. You can decide. You can do it on meeting number 17. That's up to you. You have that kind of time. I don't think you should go more than 2 meetings. Maximum 3. Because there's no point. I'm not saying anything else. Now here something changes. This is going to be, the tone is like a enough is enough. No nonsense. Alas, this is it. So it's a flat, confident tone. So the formula here is again name, negative, very similar to the previous one. Name, negative, positive, call to action, and then you share. The previous one was name, negative, positive, objection, money only, and then shut up. Here it is call to action. But the tone changes. The previous one was I care, this one is enough is enough. Okay, that's it. That's the kind of tone you're going to use. No nonsense. So I'm going to demonstrate this. It's a flat tone. Then I will do both again, so you can see the difference in the tone in both cases. So in this case now, second meeting is happening, things are going exactly the same way. I've reached a point now he's not making a decision. I will have a reservation form with me or an EOI registration form. There's usually a form when you're sitting in sales, right? This obviously you can't do much on the Zoom, but face to face. So what I will do is I always have that form with me when I'm doing this. So now this is how I'm flat out. Either this is not a good opportunity, in which case we both agree you should. Or it's an amazing opportunity and we both agree you should take it. Why don't we make a buying decision today so I don't have to take up your time with these kind of meetings? Put a tick where the signature is, turn the paper, put the pen down, shut up. What's the point in going on talking in meetings? You have been talking all this time. So that's the no nonsense tone, okay? So, either they don't take a picture, or there's one more time. Either this is not a good opportunity, in which case we both agree you should take. You see the tone has become more aggressive, no nonsense. Or, it's an amazing opportunity and we both agree you should take it. Why don't we make a buying decision today? Tick on the signature. Why don't we make a buying decision today so I don't take up your time with these kind of meetings? Turn the paper, put the pen, shut up. The person who breaks the silence first always loses. Now there's only 1 or 2 options for him here now. Either he will push the paper back and say, you know what, I don't want to do this. He was never going to do it anyway. Don't waste your time. Okay. He's not going to do it. In case he does sign it and says, all right, you know what, let's do it. Let him sign, and then I'll tell him. You know, I just put this little smile on my face and say, you know, Ahmed, I always knew you would make the right decision in the end. Congratulations and welcome to the investor family at the lockdown. Close it with a feel good. Now I do both these as tones so that you understand the difference, right? Suggestive objection is the care tone. So listen to the tones, right? Either this is not a good opportunity, in which case we both agree you should. Or it's an amazing opportunity and we both agree you should go. But something seems to be holding you back. Is it the money? So there's no wife, good. So yeah, because it's actually your wife. Alright, so Someone asked me in the yesterday session, say, what do you think would be his wife's concerns? I said, why the hell are you asking me? It's your wife. It happened yesterday. The other guy said, so what do you think would be the wife's concern? Maybe you think I have all the answers on the planet. You married her. You should know her concerns, yeah. Okay. So what are maybe people here? So all I'm saying is sometimes they may tell you, right, what's holding me back now? It's my wife. I haven't done it. I understand. What exactly is the concern with your wife about this all? So I want him talking. I need him to talk. Silence and not. So that's the tone. The other tone, no nonsense, is after. Either this is not a good opportunity, in which case we both agree you should go. Or it's an amazing opportunity and we both agree you should go for it. One way or the other. Why don't we make a buying decision today so I don't have to take away time with these kind of things? That's it. Right, it's been a long day. Thank you for being patient. Like I said, Susie, who's coming to ask questions? Katie, okay. And Katie's coming with who? Julia?